I'm walking. Yes, indeed, and I'm talking about you and me, and I'm hoping you'll come back to me. And I'm lonely as I can be, and I'm praying for your well company, and I'm hoping you'll come back to me. What you gonna do when the well runs dry? You gonna run far away and hide. I'm gonna be right by your side. You pretty baby, I would even die. Walking, yes indeed, now I'm talking about how you and me, and I'm hoping you'll come back to me. You're walking. when the well runs dry. You gonna run far away and hide. I'm gonna be right by your side. You pretty baby, I would even die walking. Yes, indeed. Now I'm talking about you and me, and I'm hoping you'll come back to me. Get walking. You'll come back, and I'm hoping, baby, you'll come back, and I'm hoping you'll come back to me. Hey everybody, welcome to our Wednesday night Guitars, Cigars, and Jazz. Here live from Rancho Mirage, California, from 5 Music Studios here. I'm your host tonight, Brian Nova, and we're going to get right into some jazz. So, in the spirit of the great Nat King Cole, here's one of my favorite Nat King Cole tunes called Paper Moon. It's only a paper moon hanging over a cardboard sea, but it wouldn't be make-believe if you believed in me. It is only us canvas sky sailing over a muslin tree, but it wouldn't be make-believe if you believed in me. Without your love, it's a honky-tonk parade. Without your love, it's a melody played on a penny arcade. It's a Barnum Bailey world, just as phony as it can be. But it wouldn't be make-believe if you believed in me. Oh my goodness, what a workout. I'm suffering from the throes of being in sequestered animation here for so long. We just don't get a chance to play as much as we used to. And this show gives me a wonderful chance to do just that. I hope this is finding everybody well and everybody healthy and happy and kind of easing back into things. I know many states all over the country are opening up, so I hope you'll stay safe and do the right thing. Tonight, we have several things to talk about. First and foremost, cigars. Tonight, our cigar of choice is the Illusione Epernay, which we're going to smoke later on tonight. It's getting hot out there, folks. I can't lie to you. It's in triple digits here in the desert right now. Sonia and I barely even went out, could barely make it to the mailbox. It's so warm out there. But anyway, we'll smoke this a little bit later after the sun goes down, and we hose off the backyard for a couple of hours and try to cool it off. Some other business to talk about. We have a brand new CD that we've been kind of pushing a little bit lately, and maybe show a picture of that, honey. We have our brand new CD, the Brian Nova Collective, and that one is for sale on Amazon or off our website if you want a physical copy. It's also on iTunes. And we also have, behind us, we have Ella's new CD, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But right now, I'm so excited. I have one of my dearest pals on the planet, and I think one of the smartest men on the planet. He is with us tonight. Dr. Daniel Levitin is going to join us here in a minute. He's an award-winning neuroscientist, musician, best-selling author, and his research encompasses music, the brain, health, productivity, and creativity. And he's a New York Times bestseller. His best-selling books. He's got, let me show the books. He's got This Is Your Brain on Music, which is one of my favorite books of all time. And many other books that he has. The World in 6 Songs, The Organized Mind, Successful Aging, as well as an international bestseller, A Field Guide to Lies. And he's got a new one coming out. But before we bring Dan up, I've got, I think we're just going to run him right through here now. What else can I tell you about him? I could go on and on and on about this guy, but I'm going to let him talk to you about himself. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Dan Levitin. Dan, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Brian?
I'm good.
Thanks for having me here.
Man, thanks for being here. You know, I didn't get a chance. I've got like 17 pages of stuff to brag about, but I was afraid if I bragged too much, I wouldn't have any time left to talk to you, actually. So
I don't know if you see what's over my shoulder on the wall here.
Oh, what is that? Anyway, I can't see that. Dan is the producer of our latest CD, the Brian Nova Collective. He is the guy that helped us put that whole record together, and I couldn't be happier or prouder to be able to do a collaboration with Dan. It was so sweet of him when he said yes. I couldn't believe it. Dan, thank you so much for helping us out with that CD and keeping us on track. Oh, look at that. Very fancy. I like it, Dan.
That was so much fun. You know, it was like nothing else. You walk into a room with some of the finest musicians in the world, and you just sit back and get to hear them blow. And man, I made a lot of records, and I've told you this, but I haven't told our viewers and listeners. This is the one I'm proudest of.
Oh my goodness, Dan, that's your check's in the mail. Oh man, tell me, what are some of the records that you particularly? I mean, you work for just about everybody from Supertramp to.
Well, you know, I was in the music business for a long time, playing various roles. I engineered records for Santana and the Grateful Dead, did the remastering of the Steely Dan catalog when they moved to CD, working alongside their longtime engineer, Roger Nichols. Mm. That's probably the thing that people know the best of my work that has my hand on it. And then, of course, I produced records for Blue Oyster Cult, Chris Isaak, soundtrack from Repo Man, and I apprenticed
I
on
remember that movie.
like the first Whitney Houston record and a Barbra Streisand record. And
Oh man! So out of all that, what got you into becoming one of the nation's foremost neuroscientists?
well,
How do you make that jump?
say it again.
How do you make that jump?
You know, it's a funny thing. Like many musicians and producers, I had times of being able to pay my bills and times of not being able to pay my bills. And as I got into my mid-30s, I thought, you know, I ought to have a backup plan. And a bunch of us who were in the music business together, we'd come in together as a cohort, we're seeing the writing on the wall. When we began in the music business, there were 17 major labels, and by 1990, there were 5. And that consolidation and a lack of artist-centric leadership in the major record companies caused many of us to think that the record business might implode, and that we all needed a backup plan. So a buddy of mine, Stacy Baird, he'd been a graduate of San Francisco State. He went to law school, became a lawyer with the EPA under Clinton. Another buddy of mine, Bob Misbach, who had a #1 hit with mixing Huey Lewis and the News' Power of Love. You remember that song?
I sure do.
He became a NASCAR pit mechanic.
Really?
And so I just decided, I never got my bachelor's degree. I decided I'd go back to college, and I never wanted to give up making music and writing and producing. I just wanted to have something else to do, and it might pay the bills if the music didn't.
Sure,
and
sure.
I had such a good time in college, the second time around, you know, in my 30s.
Yeah, you certainly know more, kind of a better handle on what's going on.
Yeah, I didn't know what I was going to study. I studied a little bit of everything, and the professor kind of put his hand on my shoulder and said, you know, you could combine neuroscience and music, and nobody else is doing that, and it might be easier to get a job if you're doing something not everybody's doing.
Yeah, that's not a lot of people were doing that back then, or even today, I suppose. Man, that's amazing, Dan. And the books. What kind of prompted you? I mean, this is your brain on music. How long has that been on the New York Times best-selling list? I mean,
well, it came out in 2006, and it spent 2 years on the list.
Wow,
but
2006.
It's insane. It's a funny story though. I always liked writing, but I didn't imagine I'd ever write a book. A publisher for a very small academic press asked me if I would write a book about music and the brain. And they offered me $5,000, which seemed like a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
I knew it would take me a year to write it, but we figured it might, you know, this whole press was called Pi Press, after the number pi, P-I. And their best-selling book had sold 500 copies, and so they were hoping I'd sell 500.
Wow.
And
it's almost as bad as a jazz record.
Yeah, exactly. It was my jazz record, baby.
Yeah.
So I wrote the book, and I had a good time writing it, and I didn't really think about who would read it. I just figured no one would read it. And
Sure.
In the interim, while I was writing it, Pi Press got bought by Penguin.
Uh-oh.
And so Penguin put out the book, and they don't do 500 print runs of 500. They do print runs of like 2,500. And the book sold well, and that caused Penguin to ask me to write another one, and that's how it's gone ever since then.
That's amazing.
Is that Ella?
That's Ellington. Yes, he's stiffing out some leads, no doubt. Sorry about that. And how about the new school we've got? Minerva.
Well, so just to give you the full circle, when I got my college degree, my doctoral degree after going to college for a long time, I taught at Berkeley and at Stanford, but I was on year-to-year contracts. I was offered a job at McGill in Canada, and I went there and I was offered a long-term contract, and I went there, and the thing about working for a large public university like McGill or Berkeley is that the classes are really big. I was teaching 700 students at once, and I had one TA.
Wow.
So what that meant was, practically speaking, I couldn't really engage them in conversation, which is how you learn things. And when I tested them, I had to give them multiple choice questions, or what we call disparagingly multiple guess. And the whole enterprise seemed like it was taking advantage of the students for the benefit of the university. The classes were done for the convenience of the administration, not the educational benefit of the students. And I was offered an opportunity to help start a new university in San Francisco in 2013 called Minerva, fully accredited, nonprofit, now part of the Claremont colleges. And the idea was we'd have small classes, and every decision we made would be with the students in mind. What is best for them, not what's best for us.
That's fantastic.
So I got hired as the Dean of Arts and Humanities, and hired a bunch of other deans and professors, and we just graduated. I just attended graduation yesterday, virtually, for our second class. Graduated full class.
Congratulations, Dan. That's wonderful.
So exciting.
No kidding. No kidding. Well, listen, speaking of exciting, at least for me, I've got a couple videos I want to show. Do you have can you stick around for a minute?
As long as you like.
Great. We're going to show one here that a nice duet of Dan and I playing here, and give it a listen.
When did we do this?
We did this just hours ago. Anyway.
Let's get lost in each other's arms. Let's get lost, let them send out alarms. And though they'll think us rather rude, we'll tell the world we're in a crazy mood. Let's get lost in a romantic mist. Let's get crossed off everybody's list to celebrate the night we found each other. Ooh, let's get lost. lost.
Dan Levitin. Dan, you there? Are you there?
Oh, here you go.
Oh, you got to unmute him there.
Yeah, there you go.
There you are. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Man, very nice, Dan. That was so much fun.
It's so fun to play with you. You know,
The feel is
when
mutual.
when I was working at, I don't know if I ever told you the story, I used to work for Nardo Michael Walden as a production apprentice when I just got it started out. And that's where I worked with him on the first Whitney Houston record, the comeback record for Aretha, Who, Zoom, and Who. And at the time, and Barbra Streisand, at the time, I shared an office with Walter Asanafiev, who went on to write and produce for Celine and Mariah, and with Randy Jackson,
Oh my goodness.
bass player. And Randy used to say to me in those days, "Man, you cannot sing. Do not ever sing around me. Do not sing your own demos. When you've written a song, you get one of us to sing it for you." And so the fact that you wanted me to sing with you means the world to me.
Oh man, well, once again, Randy Jackson's wrong. So I think you sound great.
Dog.
Dog. Absolutely. Hey, you told me a very interesting story, and I don't know if it's if you're at liberty to talk about it, but I remember you were on tour with the Police when they were on their last tour, and I'm trying to remember what it was. You were using some of their stuff when you were working on one of your books. Is that correct?
I was doing what?
You were on tour with the Police, with Sting.
Yeah.
Was that research for a book?
Oh, well, not really. Sting had read Brain on Music, and when he came to Montreal to visit, he phoned me up and asked if he could see the lab, and I asked him if he wanted a brain scan, and he said, sure, I'd like to know if there's anything up there. And so we hung out for a couple of days, and then, he said, we've got some other cities on the tour, why don't you join us? Just, listen to some of the shows, we'll hang out. And we compared our travel schedules, and I think that the only time that, I was free was when they were in Barcelona and a few other dates, including Toronto. So I went, and I was working on a book at the time. I was working on The World in 6 songs, and although I hadn't intended to use anything from that experience in the book, I mean, how could I not? So, a couple afternoons, Sting and I got together between sound check and the show, a couple of mornings for breakfast, and we just talked about his ideas about where music came from and what makes it powerful, what he tries to do. And one of the most interesting things I learned, actually, 2 things. I don't want to take up Stu Hamm's time.
We got time.
One of them was when he writes, he tries to write himself into a corner. The metaphor of painting yourself into a corner. You're painting the floor of the room.
I do it all the time.
You paint the floor of the room, and you end up in a corner, and you can't get out.
Right.
That's what he tried to do with all his songs, was put himself in a position where he had no idea how he was going to get out. And if he could figure it out, he could come up with a way out of this musical corner he put himself in. He knew it would be interesting. I thought that was really impressive, but most impressive was his work ethic. I've been a bass player for many years, and the fact is there aren't many bass players who can really play their instrument and sing at the same time.
That is very true.
I mean, we talk about talk about the ones that can because they're so rare. McCartney, Sting, Jack Bruce. There's not a lot of them.
No.
Amy Mann. So I said, how do you do that? And he says, on the recordings, I never had to. I'd put the bass part down and then I'd sing over it. Yeah, but we're on tour. He says, before every tour, I map out the lyrics of the song and the bass notes on a piece of paper. And I figure out which ones happen at the same time and which ones don't. And I break it down and I kind of draw arrows and make diagrams. And I work on one measure of the song at about a quarter of the tempo for as long as it takes. Depending on the song, it could take me an hour to get that one measure. And then the next day, I add another measure and then another measure. And, after 2 or 3 months, I've got one song.
Wow.
That I can sing. And I thought, if you're going to spend that much time, of course you could do it. But who's going to be that driven to spend so much time?
Right.
And I think about the way you play so fluidly and the thousands and thousands of hours that went into you playing and practicing and listening and working things out. And I know you to be somebody who's always trying to work something new out. And it's that spirit, I think, from which true artistry is born.
Well, thanks, Dan. I don't know. I just keep thinking of myself as wrong. Got to go back to drawing board. Wrong. Hey, we've got one more video. I got one more video I want to show here. Dan and I did another one here as well. This one is Victor Hugo or Victor Mature. I can't remember which Victor wrote it, but it's a beautiful tune. One of my favorites, actually. And Dan just does a beautiful job on this one. So check it out.
Beautiful love, you're all a mystery. Beautiful love, what have you done to me? I was contented till you came along, thrilling my soul with your song. A beautiful love, I've roamed your paradise, searching for love, my dreams to realize, reaching for heaven, depending on you. Beautiful love, my dream come true. Beautiful love, beautiful love. Beautiful love, I've roamed your paradise, searching for love, my dreams to realize. I was contented till you came along, thrilling my soul with your song. Beautiful love, you're all a mystery. Beautiful love, what have you done to me? I'm reaching for heaven, depending on you. A beautiful love, my dreams come true. A beautiful love, my dreams come true. You've done to me. I'm reaching
Hey,
for
Danny.
heaven, depending.
Lovely, lovely, lovely.
That's so much fun. Love that tune.
Oh, that's
And
a great
people don't
tune.
always do it. People don't always do it up.
No, they don't. No, they don't. They usually do it a lot slower. I do it as a bossa normally when I would play it. I've got a funny story about that tune. You want to hear it?
Absolutely.
When I was on the road with Joe Pass, Joe would play it for his wife Ellen every night. And so I remember, I can't remember where we were. We might not have been in the States. We might have been in Europe somewhere, but it's late at night and I was watching TV trying to fall asleep. And I did fall asleep. And I remember waking up and I heard that tune sort of being played off the TV. I kind of cleared my eyes and looked, and it was the theme song from The Mummy with Boris Karloff. And I never had the heart to tell Joe that this love song that he was playing for his wife was the theme song to The Mummy. Actually, I did tell him after a while. I just couldn't hold it in.
That is fun.
But yeah, that's my beautiful love story. Joe loved that tune too. Listen, Dan, thank you so much. I can't thank you enough for joining us here. And hey, what do you got coming up soon? Anything that our viewers can catch or should know about?
Oh, thanks for asking. I've got a newly redesigned website. Org. Daniel, Levitin.org. And there's a newsletter you can sign up for there. And in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be rolling out a subscription service for my writing, some unreleased writing, some advanced copies of things that I'm working on that aren't out yet, and probably going to distribute some rare musical demos
Wonderful.
of various projects I've been working on, including some, I will leave it at that, some intriguing demos and rare tracks.
God, I can't wait to hear it. In fact, I hope you'll come back and join us again, because next time I'd love to play some of your songs. You're such a great songwriter that I'd love to do some of your tunes next time.
I'd be honored.
Great. Dan, thank you so much. We'll be in touch. Stay safe. Say hi to Heather. Did you say I've got a lot to learn? Well, honey, I'm trying not hard to learn. Since this is a perfect spot to learn, teach me tonight. Starting with the ABC of it, right down to the XYZ of it. Help me solve the mystery of it. Baby, teach me tonight. They say the sky's a blackboard up above you. If a shooting star happens to pass by, I'd use that star to write times across the sky. One thing is very clear, my love. Should the teacher stand so near, my love? Graduation's almost here, my love. Baby, teach me tonight. Songs. Anyway, on to some new stuff here, folks. By the way, I got to put out a big shout out there to some of our cigar lounges out there. We've been talking a lot of music, not enough cigars. We've got, of course, up in Washington, the Churchill Room and the Vertigo Club. And down here in the desert, we have Palm Desert Tobacco and the Mirage Cigar Lounge. And I want to give another big shout out to Telford's up in San Francisco, one of my favorite places up there, along with the Wingtip Club. Illusione Epernay cigars are cigar for the day. And also big shout out to CRA, Cigars Rights of America. Sounds very official. It's a great site. Just trying to keep the rights for cigar smokers so we can keep smoking our cigars. Anyway, my next guest. He is one of the world's greatest bassists. This guy he tours the world with his own band and with other rock giants. He teaches clinics, has a whole learning, instructional video program for virtually every aspect of the bass. Years ago, Fender, he was the first bassist to have his own bass made by Fender. Had a couple of different models and moved over to Washburn, where he is at today, I believe. Fill us in on that. He has his own amp. Mark Bass Amps makes the Mark Bass Stu 1000 bass amp. I would love to have my own bass amp someday. His slap and pop and two-handed tapping techniques are demonstrated on his solo recordings as well as in his instructional videos. His list of people that he's played with are some of my favorite musicians. People like Joe Satriani, Stevie Vai, Frank Gambale, Eric Johnson, Yngwie Malmsteen, Adrian Legg, and many others. Stu was asked to run the director of bass studies at Musicians Institute in Hollywood in 2011, was there for many years. And now he's just back on the road touring and jamming. And I'm just so thrilled that we get to have him here on our show this evening. Stu Hamm. Stu Dog, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
What's happening, man? I am here.
There you are. All right, all right, all right. Where are you, man? Well, you're up in the woods somewhere, like Tahoe.
Well, you know, this is a...
What is that? Where are you? Can you hear me?
got a bit of a time lag going. I wonder if I should get rid of my Skype window here for a minute.
Well, dude, you look good.
Anyway, this is the beautiful hotel room from a town from Voru in Estonia, where I was playing. It was about 3 days before the COVID caused my tour to end, and I had to beat it right back to LA. So it's happy memories of being on the road and playing music with my friends in front of human beings. What a concept!
I love it. That should be your next album. COVID caused my tour to end. That'd be a great name for a tour. Why am I getting the idea you're not hearing what I have to say here? Are we doing something wrong here on our side? Maybe.
Yeah,
I think.
I'm just getting the lag. I got. Should I try to see you on Skype and not on your thing?
Sure.
Let me go. Here I am on Skype now. Let me.
There you are.
Here we go. Let's try this. Technology. Here we are on Skype live.
Here we are.
There we go.
Right on.
All right. Your
Dude.
background's a little fuzzy. What's going on back there, man? Is that the haze of cigar smoke in the background?
That's a smoke in the background, yeah.
Well, I love the bass, man. I want to hear you play that upright. I know you can slap that thing.
Oh, yeah, dude. I can slap it all around. Just give me a paddle. Listen, tell me what's going on in the world of Stu. I know you've been sequestered just like the rest of us.
Yeah.
But what are you doing to keep yourself
Man, I'm
sane?
just happy to be here. It was great to follow Dan. I mean, dude, my toes hurt from all the names he was dropping, from all the things that he had going on. Pretty incredible. And great to hear you play. And I was happy to get the call. But, man, just coping. Like I said, I was, in Europe on tour, like a lot of my friends. Fortunately, we were way far north, man. We were doing sort of the Lithuania, Estonia, Finland, Denmark, Sweden thing. So I got to last my tour about a week longer than like everyone who was over there that had to quit it. And then, man, the 13th, just had our last gig was on the 12th in Kolding, Denmark, and I was on a plane home the 13th, and just watching, gigs be rescheduled. So next year should be busy, but man, practicing like everyone else, zooming away. Got a nice stable of students, a lot of people different, from beginners to some really advanced guys. And I've been really lucky. I've got a really great level of, stable students, and they're really all advancing really well. I'm seeing the progress in them great. And got some good news. One of the things that was sort of canceled, got rescheduled to a recording workshop at Sweetwater at Fort Wayne, Indiana. Yeah, so it's going to be me and Alex Skolnick and Jill Taylor, who we've got a trio, and we go in and we record, and people sign up to watch the recording process, and we give master classes, and we get to record a record and keep the masters. So, but the main thing I'm excited about is that Saturday, this is the real sign of things getting back to normal, is I'm doing a live broadcast from the Baked Potato, because clubs have just been hit hard too, right?
Right.
So it's social distancing. It's going to be me and this great guitar player, Carl Verheyen, who I toured with for years, and my brother in rhythm, John Mader. And we're going to go there, and there's going to be no crowds. The sound man and Justin be 6 feet apart from each other, and we're doing a live set. I think cost $8, and a portion of that goes to the club, and a portion of that goes to moi and the guys in the band. But the fact of just getting to groove live, man, with John Mader and hear Carl play and play with musicians live is, man, I'm looking forward to that. That's what I miss most of anything.
So when is that again? So
that is Saturday.
This coming Saturday.
This coming Saturday, May the 30th. And if you go to my Instagram or you go to either of my Facebook pages, There are links up there, or just go to the Baked Potato live stream. Again, it's cheap, and it's just, we're doing like an hour and a half set, but you can play and you can write, and but nothing like, for me, playing live with a drummer and grooving, and John
Sure.
Mader's just my brother, so I'm looking forward to that so much.
Oh man, it's going to be so much fun. Hey, dude, you got some time? I want to play a couple videos for everybody while I've got you here.
I would love to hear what we did.
All right. So first video is a fun little duet that Stu and I just cranked out real quick, and it's the next best thing to being there, I guess, as far as I'm concerned. So check it out. All right, Stu, here we go.
All right, Brian, here we go.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, baby.
Woo!
Wow! Go team! Go team!
Look at you, man! That was fun.
We have some. We actually have applause somewhere in here. I don't know where we keep it at.
Maybe it's here in the woods of Estonia back here.
We have applause. We have horns.
Disappears out the window.
Do we have any applause, honey?
I just cleaned it.
Here we go. Can you hear that?
Yeah. I'm here. You hear?
All right, I'm good. Anyway, What's so you've got Saturday night at the Baked Potato.
Yep.
Any gigs coming up live? I know I don't have anything till like February of 2021 or something like that. I think is my first.
Well, like I said, I mean, there is hope. There is
hope.
I mean, who knows, right? But this recording workshop that was supposed to be happening in March, I think is gonna happen at Sweetwater. It looks like I was gonna film a couple courses for True Fire. I'm sure those hopefully will be rescheduled for this year. But man, just who knows if we're gonna be able to play, play live. But here's the thing: is what a trendsetter I am. I'm single, so I created this social distancing thing years ago.
Well
right?
done, well played.
And the kind of music I play, you play like in a 150-seater club, and I get 70 people. It's perfect social distancing for people, man. It's like, it's the times are made for me and my music and my selective audience.
This is your time right now. I can feel it.
My time.
And think about all the toilet paper you're saving. I mean, all of it's just a plus.
But it's man, trying to be creative, and obviously, if you go online, there have been a lot of collaborations. I did this really nice one of Let It Be that had a bunch of LA rockers, Betancourt and Ava LeGrand and Derek Frank, and a bunch of the sort of LA rock dudes that have all the pop gigs. Ava Gardner from Pink's band, and we did a collaboration for that. Did a couple of the Brian May challenges. So people are getting together and keeping busy and trying to do stuff for a good cause. The Let It Be thing, all the money is being raised for Music Cares, right?
Oh man, that is so cool.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Keep it in touch. Keep it in touch.
Well, speaking of keeping in touch, we have links on the Facebook site, folks, for PayPal for our show here. We also have a link for Stu on there. So.
Hey man, I had one of your neighbors gave me a very generous donation, by the way.
Oh, is that right?
Mine in Cathedral City did a fine donation. So thank you, Jim. One of my great young student, and he's so young. I get to get him early and get good habits going. So
that a boy. Hey, what bass was that you had, by the way? It was obscured by the tree.
Yeah, I know. Well, it kind of goes in and out. This is a prototype for my Warwick signature model, and. Even though I'm such a comic book geek, that's why I had it fuzzed out, because I was very intimidated by Dan's, book collection, like all the, the bestsellers he'd written on the wall. If you saw my walls, I mean, sure, there's a couple Satriani gold platinum records on them, but other than that, it's
that's
like original.
Pretty cool, man.
Other than that, it's like Frank Frazetta prints and original art from Marvel comic books, So, what can I say? But this is so.
Why
anyway,
you're single, I'll never know.
Exactly. So even though it has a Captain America sticker on it, I disappeared. It's actually called Banner, because it used to have a Hulk sticker on the back. Boy, I just disappeared out of the woods.
Yeah,
there I am.
Yeah, hey, you're out of the woods now.
It's a prototype. So the weird thing about this bass is that the horn goes to the 14th fret, and every other bass in the world, the horn goes to the 12th fret. So when I first got this bass, I'm doing a session, and the bass player says, "Okay." The later says, "Okay, bass player, you're doubling the melody." And I go, "Okay." He goes, "Hey, we're the key of F." And I said, "Yeah, F, okay." He goes, "Stop, we're in F." And I'm like, "Oh, 2 frets off." The horn goes to 12. So, but this, the great thing about, one of the great things about Warwick is they've got this incredible carbon neutral factory in a town in Germany I can't pronounce. And they have this wonderful guy named Marcus Spangler, who's like a wood whisperer. Spangler, man, and he's like a wood whisperer, and they have aged wood, and then they pick out the wood, and they're incredible basses, man. Just fine German engineering, and that neck is just it's just a thing of beauty, and it's the one that's working for me right now.
Dude, well, when you play it, it is a thing of beauty. I can tell you that.
Sometimes.
Hey, Stu, thanks so much for stopping by. I hope you'll come by and visit us again soon.
I will, man. Well, sometime I'm going to be coming out to get some lessons in person to my friend and donor out there in Cathedral City.
There you go.
And yeah, it's only like 102 here in Tahunga, so it's just not hot enough. So maybe I'll just get the car.
Come out here, yeah. We've got you beat.
And get a vest on and a fur hat, but
we're in triple digits.
You know what a fan I am of your playing and your singing and from jamming at the Triple Door up there in Seattle, and
feelings mutual.
out on Redwood Road, and it's always just a pleasure. I'm so thankful you asked me to go. And anytime I got a chance to get my swing chops going, I love it, man. So thank you very much.
I love it. All right, man. You take care of yourself, and
all right, brother.
We'll talk soon.
Ciao.
See you later. Man, Stu Hamm. Well, listen, we're getting ready to kind of wrap things up here. Next week, we have with us record producer extraordinaire, Greg Field. I should also mention he plays drums. Actually, he played drums with Sinatra. He played drums with Count Basie, and of course with the wonderful Ella Fitzgerald, just to name a few. And he'll be with us next week. We're going to talk about some records, CDs, and drumming and all kinds of great stuff. I also have one of my dear pals, Terry Miller. He'll be with us, another excellent bassist. And we'll be talking about his foundation, Terry's Kids, which is something that's very dear to Masoni and my heart here. We try to do as much as we can for Terry's Kids. I've got one more video for you, so I hope you guys will hold on here. This is a real fun one. We were trying to think of, I should have kept Stu on the line, but anyway, Stu had this great story about a band he was in, and the best part about the band, and we showed you the picture of this band he was in. This band that Stu was in, they let him take a solo to this next song. So I thought, what better tune for me to force Stu to play than something that looks and comes out of a band just like that. I mean, boy, that's the 70s if ever there was one, folks. I love it. I remember those days. I remember those shoes. Coming up here, we have Stu Hamm on bass, my dear pal Andy Fraga Jr. on the drums, the wizard of the Hammond B3, probably the best B3 player on the planet, Mr. Jim Pugh on B3, and yours truly on guitar and vocals, doing a cut of Hoke Salad Annie. Check it out. 1, 2, 3. Some of y'all been down south too much. I'm gonna tell you a little story so you understand what I'm talking about. Down there we have a plant that grows out in the woods and the fields. So it's something like a turnip green. Everybody calls it poke, a salad. Used to know a girl lived down there, and she go out in the evenings and pick up that stuff and take it home, cook it for supper. So that's about all they had to eat. They did all right. Down in Louisiana, where the alligators grow so mean, a little enough girl that I swear to the world, many alligators look tame. Poke Salad Annie, it's got your granny. Everybody said it was a shame that her mama wasn't working on a chain gang. Mean vicious woman. Every day before supper time, go down by the truck patch and pick a mess of poke salad and carry it home in a tote sack. Poke salad in it. And it's got your granny chomp, chomp. Everybody said it was a shame that her mama wasn't working on a chain gang. A rushful, spiteful woman. Great razor told me. Lord have mercy. Come on, Jim, you pick a little bit of this. Steaming watermelons out of a truck, hash poke salad in it. The cater's got your granny. Everybody said it was a shame, 'cause her mama was working on a chain gang. Took a little boat, sent it to me. Made a real mess of it. Made a little boat, sent it to me. Made a real mess. Stu Hamm. Yeah. Monkey like a bow-legged monkey. Yes, too. Suck a little poke salad to me. I know you made a real mess of it. Poke salad. I know you make a real mess of it. Going home. Well, there you have it, folks. I had to pull out the old telly for that one. Big thanks to Jim Pugh, big thanks to Andy Fraga Jr., and big thanks to Stu Hamm for that. And, of course, this show would not go on without my dear lovely Miss Sony, our producer, our PR agent, our talent wrangler. She does pretty much everything. I just have to sit here and play guitar. So, let me get a picture of you, honey, and the puppy. There they are, and there's little Ellington. We're going to get some more reports from Ellington from next week. Listen, I hope you guys have a great week. I really want to thank you all. We want to thank you for tuning in. And next week, Greg Field, Terry Miller, and more. Actually, we have some more special guests that we have lined up. And I hope you have a great week, and stay safe out there. Take care. And remember, keep it swinging.
Well, I'm walking, yes indeed, and I'm talking about you and me, and I'm hoping you'll come back